Welcome to the Fear Factor podcast with our fearless founder of Fit to Profit. She's a mama of two, yoga enthusiast and mindset junkie, and a performance coach. Each week, we'll cover everything from mindset to lifestyle to business. On our guest shows, we'll not only celebrate success stories with other leaders in the field, but we'll dive deep on their struggles and what it takes to build a dream life and business. And here's your host, Dee Kai.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I am back with another episode, and I would say this is like to be continued or an extension to what we were talking about last week in terms of to really be able to receive and achieve what it is that you want in your life. It's all about being you, right? Like more so about who you are being to be able to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. It's a very simple formula, right, to succeed, starting with what who do I want to be able to do what I need to do to achieve and have what I want to achieve. And I don't know about you, but when I first understand this concept, it was more from a intellectual standpoint, right? That I understand what it means to be the person or understand what it takes to be the person. I understand that. But what's really interesting as I really embark on this new journey, which is years ago by now, that being that next love, being this person operating from that next level is the most important aspect of really understanding what it means to be the person that you want to be, is the embodiment of that person. So, as we are closing out the year, I get to evaluate everything that's happening in our business and my life, especially this year. A lot has happened. What's interesting is I am the person that's getting the results. I realize that's getting the results that I have. And I am so, so grateful to share that. Of course, we have tripled our revenue this year. We have moved our whole family to a completely new state within like 6 months, and we love it. We love it here in Florida. It's like paradise for us, and that I love the fact that I have been really super super focused and driven. Although all of this is all great, I also find myself, as I'm reflecting on what we have done this year so far, and then also planning for the following year or next year, that I'm always chasing for the results, right? And um, as you also have read my most recent blog, I believe that I talked about the difference being between being content and then also satisfied. And I am content. I am grateful. I am content for all and everything that we've been able to create. But what's really interesting is um, that the work is not done. Like, and that's what I mean in the article. That it's important you understand you want to be content, but you don't want to be satisfied, right? You don't want to be satisfied to where you sit on your laurels and you're just being egotistic about what you've have done, and it becomes like you're bragging, or you're not being true and authentic to who you are. And so what I really want to share in this episode is with the intention of, it's great to go for the next level of success. It's great for that to have that next level of achievement, but it's also important that it is in alignment with you. And that's when we talk about how are you being, right? And the truth is, I wanted to triple my revenue, and I did, right? And we did. And but then I was always in the hustle mode. I was driven, like, and I was, doing whatever it takes to make it happen. And the reason why this is so in my awareness and I'm being hyper vigilant is that most of you guys know already my story from having my own brick and mortar businesses, etc., I burnt myself out. I was burning myself down to the ground as I was building the business, and I vowed to myself that I was never going to do that again. And so that's why I'm super vigilant on the fact that I have able to create the tripling our revenue, but I am also on the path, to a burnout. And that's not who I want to be, right? I want to be able to operate a really successful business, but I also want to be in flow of the business. And what's really interesting is the reason why I'm able to create the result this far is because I am exactly operating from the place of this person receiving this result. And I'm not taking it to that next level yet where I can still create the changes in my life and business. But this time though, my being, my inner core being is I always want it to be grounded. I always wanted to be confident and, in all of my decisions, personally or professionally. And I realized that I was not in that place. Like there's like, I don't like to use the word balance too often, but I'm not balanced. I'm always on the go. I'm always driven. I'm always going for the next thing. I'm like super focused, which is all great. That's why I've been able to create the result. But honestly, with this fire and this type of operation, I'm not going to be able to go that far. It's not going to be sustainable, especially our next goal is to hit seven figures, within the next year. This is not going to be sustainable because um, it's going to take the next level of strategy. It's going to take my next level of being. And I know for a fact, for me, by naming this episode "Be You," is that for me, I have to be able to feel like I am in control. I'm doing it with joy and ease, which is joy and ease is not as in the forefront and it's not happening as often as I would like. And so I get to do the work of how I'm going to be able to bring that, into my life and business, because I'm sure you have heard, right? Like everybody seems to have a side hustle. And yes, like sometimes that has to happen. Honestly, that's how I started. I had a full-time job. I started my business as a side hustle. And before I could transition, that was a side hustle for a little bit. And then I did turn it into a full-time job when I could sustain it and was bringing in consistent income. So, not to say not to knock having a side hustle, but the word hustle puts me, I don't know about you, but puts me in a state of anxiety, right? Like I always have to strive, I always have to make it, right? Rather than really trusting and feeling confident that it's going to happen. If I put in the work, it's not a matter of when, but it's more like, it's going to happen sooner or later. So it's that trust, in the process, is trust in myself that is going to happen. And my only reminder for you is to be really in tune with what it is that you want, but who it is that you want to be, right? I can have the results, but if I am being that anxious person and uptight and irritable and, short tempered, like that is not who I want to be. And no matter what kind of revenue results or target that we're able to hit, I'm just not happy because ultimately, at the end of the day, no matter what it is that you do as a human being, you want to be happy. Like that is your ultimate desire as a human being. So, I want to create the results, but I also want to do it with ease and joy. And so and here's an example, a tangible example for you, to really take on understanding this whole concept of being and being in alignment with who it is that you really want to be is that I am looking at my schedule, going back, and there's no space in my schedule whatsoever. So, of course, I'm always running from one thing to the next. There's no transition. So, my work here is not about focus anymore because I know I can focus. It's not about doing it anymore because I know I can do it. But it's more about creating the schedule, or my coach, my spiritual coach told me that creating a rhythm that is in true reflection to your dream lifestyle. And what I realize is, although I have been living my dream lifestyle, in terms of the physical space, we're in Florida, we're in a new house, etc. I'm not being that person who's living my dream lifestyle because I was running like, 100 miles per hour. So my dream lifestyle is being able to have time for everything, meaning taking care of myself, having a transition time to be intentional with each and every one of the events that's happening in my day. It's creating more space. So for more of a type A person, I don't know about you, but if you're more type A like me, really ensuring that you have space in between so that when you can reflect and being intentional, whatever it is that you're trying to do. Otherwise, it's like you just able to cross things off of your list, but at the end of the day, you're resenting yourself, your staff, or your family for it. And that is not a way to really embracing the process. That is just striving, for the next thing, just to prove that you're capable and that you can do that. So I'm sharing all of this with you in reflection to what had happened this year so far. I'm grateful for the results. At the same time, I really have to make sure that we pause and really evaluate, am I showing up the way I really want to show up in all areas of my life? And I know I'm not able to do that in my personal life to myself and my family. It's because I'm not creating enough space where I am working with the rhythm of my true and ideal dream life. It's more about really being able to be in that energy of being grounded, working with joy and ease, and then really trusting that no matter what happens, it's going to be okay. So last moments together, I want you to take what I shared so far and ask yourself, what does that mean for you as you close this year? Are you being the person that you really want to be? I know last week we talked about having a vision. So are you clear on who it is that you want to be? And it's okay if you're not, right? It's okay if you're not. And where do you start? You may say, right? I would start with, what makes you happy, right? Like, are you happy right now with who you are being? You know what I mean? I know I'm not happy when I snap, at my kids or yell or things like that. So you get to evaluate and become that new version of yourself by looking at who are you being, first of all, for yourself. And guess what? The great news is that it takes you just making a decision to change and that you want to do it for yourself so you can become that better version of you, because you are perfect, right? Like you deserve the most of everything, and there's more to have and achieve in life as long as you're operating from who you are as a person, being in alignment with your values, and then going after your purpose and your vision. That's my message for you today, is to be you, and rather than being satisfied and stopping, go for that next level because you are content and you know that you're capable for more and for greatness. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fear Factor podcast. Make sure to rate and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. New episodes are dropping every Thursday, and we can't wait for you to tune in next time. Until then, have an awesome week.